Welcome to Studio Classroom on the air. Today is a great day to save the planet. My name is Gabe.
And I'm Anne-Marie. You know, I learned something new yesterday.
Well, as they say, Anne-Marie, you learn something new every day. So what did you learn yesterday?
I learned that paper contributes to the methane problem.
Yeah, what's up with that? I always thought it was mainly oil and gas that produced methane, followed by cattle, like cows.
Me too. But of course, landfills are high up on the list of things that produce methane, which has 21 times the heat-trapping power of CO2.
And unrecycled paper takes up around 25% of landfills. Friends, there's a reason our lesson is called Paper Peril. Our planet really is in danger if we don't change our habits.
Well, let's keep paying attention to the things we can do to make a difference. Today's a great day to learn something new. Let's do that together right now.
Paper peril. Paper is mainly made from cellulose. This molecule makes up the cell walls of trees and many other plants. Because of its sturdy structure, cellulose can be used repeatedly in paper making. Unfortunately, it also means that paper waste takes a surprisingly long time to decompose after being buried in landfills. So far, trees are the only source of cellulose that can fill the massive demand for paper products. Therefore, recycling paper is simply one of the best ways to save trees.
Hi everyone, welcome to Language Lab. I'm Jack. 先来看 molecule 这个字。Molecule 是名词，意思是分子。譬如 Two atoms of hydrogen make up a molecule. 一个氢分子是由两个氢原子构成的。或者 People now can find out if they are related by having their DNA molecules tested. 现在人可以透过 DNA 分子的检测来鉴定是否有血缘关系。再来一个例句 The molecules in ice are farther apart than in liquid water. 冰的分子彼此的间隙比水的分子大多了。换句话说，冰的分子密度比水的分子密度小。再来看 decompose 这个动词 ，decompose 是 compose 的相反词 ，compose 意思是组成、构成，前面加上 de 是相反的意思，也就是解构、分解。例如 It's a good idea to recycle plastic bags because they take centuries to decompose. 回收塑胶袋是个好主意。因为塑胶袋要花几百年才能分解掉，或者 Leaves that have decomposed on the ground help make the soil rich. 树叶在地上分解腐化后，有助于土壤肥沃。再来看一句 Some landfills use chemicals to help decompose the waste deposited there. 有些垃圾掩埋场使用化学物质来分解那里的垃圾。All right, let's get back to our teachers.
Thank you very much, Jack. All right, so friends, in this paragraph, we learned about cellulose and what it does and why it's important for us to save trees. And we're also going to talk a little bit about different uses for the word make. First of all, in the first sentence, paper is mainly made from cellulose. Now, made from is a little bit different from the phrase made of. Both are very useful phrases. If something is made from something else, that means that is used to make the object, but maybe it's not that obvious. However, if you say something is made of something, like, oh, this table is made of wood, that means it's a little more obvious what it's made of.
Yeah, for example, maybe someone who likes to do DIY makes their own clothes. You could say her skirt is made from recycled jeans. That means her skirt uses material from the jeans, but you probably can't tell that that material was originally from blue jeans. But if you were to say her skirt is made of recycled blue jeans, maybe you could still tell that that's what that skirt was made out of.
Yeah, maybe it's really obvious. They still look like blue jeans, right? So friends, if there's something really obvious like that, or like I mentioned, a table, and it's obviously made of wood, you would probably use the phrase made of. Oh, this is made of wood. Or it looks like wood, but it's actually made of plastic, okay? But we see another made or make phrase in the next sentence. This molecule makes up the cell walls of trees and many other plants. Now, if something makes up something else, that means we would also use the word constitute. It constitutes, or it is what the cell wall is mainly made of.
Like, for example, someone's garden could be mainly made up of roses. That means what you find in that garden is mostly going to be roses. This reminds me of another phrase, actually.
Yeah, what's that?
Show them what you're made of.
Oh, that's very different.
It is very different.
Show someone what you're made of. Does that mean you want to show someone the chemicals on your skin?
Oh, no.
And...
This is talking about character.
Okay.
Show people what your personality is like. Show them what your character is. And we usually use this in a very specific situation, whereas we're encouraging someone to do their best or to go out there and win something.
That's right. I usually hear that phrase when there's a very difficult situation, and it's in those difficult moments in life that you can really show someone else your true character and your strong side. Show them what you're made of. You know, there's another made or make phrase that I thought of, and that's the phrase made with.
Oh.
Yeah, and we usually use this when talking about food.
Oh, that's right. Like ingredients.
Ingredients, right. So you might ask, hey, what is that cake made with? Oh, well, it's made with eggs and oil and sugar and vanilla and some other things. We usually use the word with when talking about food and ingredients and stuff like that. So friends, now you've got a lot of make phrases: made from, made of, to make up something, and made with.
All right, well, let's keep learning about these molecules that we were talking about. We read, because of its sturdy structure, cellulose can be used repeatedly in paper making.
All right, well, there is that molecule with that sturdy structure, okay? Unfortunately, it also means that paper waste takes a surprisingly long time to decompose. Another word for that is break down after being buried in landfills.
So far, trees are the only source of cellulose that can fill the massive demand for paper products. Therefore, recycling paper is simply one of the best ways to save trees. I'm not sure if I completely agree with that last statement, actually.
Well, why do you say that, Anne-Marie?
Well, our article says that recycling is the best ways to save trees, but don't you think that not using trees in the first place is the best way to save trees?
You mean going paperless?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. If we're not printing paper or using paper, then we wouldn't be needing to use trees.
Well, that is true. A lot of companies are really trying to go paperless. My brother works for a company like that. But Anne-Marie, I think a key idea in this sentence is one of. So this is
true.
One of the best ways to save trees. But yes, friends, I think that going paperless obviously would save trees as well. But speaking of saving trees, I think we have something we want to learn about that in today's Info Cloud.
Welcome to Info Cloud, friends. So Rex, what do you think about a paperless society?
A paperless society? You mean no more written documents, letters, or mail?
Yes, a paperless society has no paper communication. All communication is done by electronic means.
Well, I pay all my bills online. I also don't get many paper receipts anymore. I save my receipts electronically in an app on my phone.
Yes, there are many ways we can go paperless today. Now, friends, you see the letters L-E-S-S after paper. Here, the suffix less means without. You see this in other words like restless, meaning without rest, or tasteless, meaning without taste.
So paperless is without paper. The idea of a paperless society is good. I just don't know if we can do it completely.
I agree. But it's good to be mindful of how much paper we use and how we can be paperless.
The other day, I got a wedding invitation through social media. I had to fill out some questions online to accept the invite. And one of the questions asked if I wanted a paper invitation.
That's a good way of saving paper or going paperless. Some people recycle paper invitations right away. But some people may want the paper invitation to keep, to be able to hold in their hands as a memory.
现代人用纸的数量和频率比以往大大的减少，主要还是因为环保。今天要跟大家讨论 paperless 无纸化的概念。Paper 是指字尾加上一个 less L-E-S-S， 就代表没有纸的状态。现在人们已经在讨论要进入一个 paperless society 无纸化的社会。所有的文件和文字讯息都透过电子媒介来传达，像是现在有很多人要结婚的时候发送电子喜帖给亲朋好友，这样大家也可以很快的回复会不会参加，不用一个一个打电话，既节省纸张又节省电话费，一举两得。当然还是有很多人比较习惯收到传统喜帖，或是看传统文件和书本，因此Paperless society 要完全实现，目前还不太可能。不过现在纸张的使用已经大大的减少，达到环保的绩效了。这就是今天的 Info Cloud， 我们下次云端见。
Studio Classroom is on the air.
Welcome back to Studio Classroom. I don't know about you, but I found this lesson very informative. I never knew that paper took so long to decompose in landfills.
Right. That's why recycling paper is simply one of the best ways to save trees. And Gabe, I gotta say, I'm proud to be living in a country that is setting such a good example for recycling.
You're right about that. Taiwan has one of the best recycling programs in the world, but everyone still needs to do their part. Let's learn a little bit about what that means right now. Paper peril. Thanks to advances in processing, recycled paper need not be the dull-colored stuff many of us are familiar with. It now can offer the same print performance as non-recycled paper. Effective recycling requires a consistent effort from everyone at all levels of society. The way to begin is with education and understanding. Once enough people realize the need for recycling, more effective recycling systems can be implemented. The need is real. The massive loss of trees affects everybody on Earth. Everyone should do their part to recycle paper and encourage government and industry to do the same. The world will be a better place for it.
“接着来看 consistent 这个形容词 ，consistent 的意思就是持续的、一致的。例如 ，When questioned about the robbery, Jim's answers were consistent with everyone else's. Jim 被询问这件抢劫案时，他的供词和其他每个人都一致。或者 The doctors reported a consistent improvement in Simon's condition. 医师报告 Simon 的状况呈现稳定的改善。再来一个例句 Those who drive their cars at a consistent speed get very good gas mileage. 行车速度始终一致的驾驶人，汽车的平均油耗量都很不错。最后来看 massive 这个形容词，意思是巨大的、大量的。譬如说The explosion caused a massive hole in the side of the concrete building. 这场爆炸把这栋水泥建筑物的侧面炸出了一个大破洞。或者 Planning the All City celebration for July 4th is a massive responsibility. 为整个城市筹备7月4日的庆祝活动是一个非常重大的责任。再来一句 Marilyn received a massive dose of medicine to treat her dog bite. Marilyn 服用了大量的药物来治疗她被狗的咬伤。好 ，Let's get back to our teachers.
Thank you very much, Jack. And right at the beginning of this section, we want to talk about another phrase that uses the word think. Thanks to advances in processing, recycled paper need not be the dull-colored stuff many of us are familiar with. The use of the word thanks to here is like because of. It's just kind of another fun way of saying it. However, you can use the phrase thanks to even if you're really not thankful for what follows, right?
This can be a negative phrase. You can say it in a kind of a sarcastic way. For example, I could say, oh, thanks to you, I'm going to be late.
All right. Being a little snide there, Anne-Marie.
A little bit, yeah. Well, so what it means is that because of you or as a direct result of what you have done, you are causing something else to happen.
Exactly. So you can use this in different situations, friends. But of course, our lesson is talking about advances in processing. And we don't have to use that dull-colored stuff that a lot of us have maybe seen or think about when it comes to recycled paper. Like when you think of recycled paper, don't you just kind of think of a darker, like brown or grayish type paper with little marks inside? I
think of those brown paper towels I've seen in public restrooms before. That's exactly what I think of when I think of recycled paper.
That is made from recycled paper,
yeah,
right?
Usually.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't think that's ugly. I mean, our lesson calls it dull-colored. It is dull-colored, but it's okay. I mean, it's no worse than plain white. But anyway, it now can offer the same print performance as non-recycled paper. The idea that I get here is that now we can recycle paper and it will come out white or looking pretty white like most of the paper we use.
Well, that's what it sounds like. Let's read on here. Effective recycling requires a consistent effort from everyone at all levels of society. So it sounds like our article is calling for no matter what your position is or no matter how much money you make or what your job is, that we all should be recycling and being aware of this problem.
Exactly. All doing our part, right? You see this picture right here. You kind of, let's see if we can piece the piece of this picture together, right? Let's see if we can see what it says here, Anne-Marie. We what? We love the earth and trees and birds.
Recycling.
And recycling the sun.
We love recycling.
We love recycling the sun. Anyway. We know that it's important to recycle and to do, this is my favorite part though, the last part, the hands. We're all doing this together.
Do your part.
Do your part.
Okay, that makes sense. Doing your part, friends, just means to take the action you know that you need to take. Do that part of the action and don't worry about everybody else.
Exactly. Now that phrase appears later in our lesson, right? Everyone should do their part to recycle. That is, do what you can do to solve this problem. Because the idea, when you encourage someone to do their part, the idea is we are all responsible, even for problems that we feel like we have nothing to do with. We can still do our part.
And our article tells us the best way to do it. It says, the way to begin is with education and understanding. I think that is a big part of helping the environment and making sure that everyone is recycling. If people know it's important, they're going to be much more likely to do it. And that starts with education.
Exactly. So educate yourself and others around you. There's something else we want to talk about at the end of the next sentence. Once enough people realize the need for recycling, more effective recycling systems can be implemented. Okay, the idea of implementing something is putting it into use or practice.
For example, once the new computer system is implemented, accessing information will be much easier.
Okay, so maybe something has been around for a while, but if it's not implemented, they haven't started using it yet. So we need to implement these ideas. Everyone needs to do their part. Well, you did see the word massive in today's lesson. Let's see how that word is used in a skit.
Welcome to the Daily News. We have a lot to report today.
We sure do.
let's get started. In the north part of the city, there was a massive explosion. It was huge. The blast caused a massive fire that destroyed several homes.
And overseas, there was another earthquake. It was massive. Many roads were destroyed. Homes were destroyed. They expect a massive shortage of food and supplies.
And a new alert for the East Coast. A massive storm is on the way. Heavy rains and strong winds are expected. There may be massive flooding in the area. Stay safe, everyone.
And tonight is a big outdoor concert in the city park. So expect massive crowds and massive traffic jams. Yes, big crowds cause big traffic jams.
That's right. Well, that's all the news we have for tonight.
Join us later for another massive report.
Massive.
Well, friends, many forests were once massive, but if we're not careful, they'll be completely destroyed. Speaking of, what are some creative ways to reuse paper products before recycling them? Let's talk about that.
好啊，我小时候，我们家人都一起把不用的广告纸啊收集，然后一定要是长方形的广告纸。
Yeah, like this, right?
然后就会
Rectangular paper.
就会变成可以打开，变成一个小的置物盒，可以放很多我们吃的不要的东西，骨头啊、鱼骨头啊、
I've
鸡骨
seen
头啊
that。so many times, Jack. Growing up here in Taiwan, I would go to neighbors' houses and they would have like a stack of these prepared. It's like the old advertising paper,
That's
right?
right.
Like, yeah, and it would all be together. And then when you need to use it to make a little box, then you would pull one out.
That's right.
And would you put like, I saw people use it and like put sunflower seed shells and
瓜子壳啊什么的。
everything.
You don't need to use tape or anything
Nope.
either, do you?
No, I can show you how to do it.
Oh, okay.
It's
cool.
pretty easy. It's a
Yeah.
pretty great way to reuse paper. Anne Marie, what about you?
Well, when I was young, I remember I really, really wanted a dollhouse. I didn't used to play with dolls, actually. I used to play with Beanie Babies. Do you guys remember Beanie Babies?
I do. It's a brand of like stuffed animal, right?
Yes, and they're about this big. And I used to use them as dolls, and I wanted a house for them, which it's kind of hard to find a dollhouse for an animal like this, right? So my dad made me one out of recycled cardboard, and he built it and taped it, and I used it for years. It lasted for a pretty long time.
You can reuse cardboard as well. Yes, that reminds me of some friends that we have who did the exact same thing for their son. Instead of going to IKEA to buy one of those kitchen sets that you can assemble, they just created a small kitchen set out of cardboard. Because kids see the things that adults do. When we're in the kitchen cooking, they want to do the same thing. There are so many things that you can do with paper or cardboard or paper products. Friends, what's another way that you can reuse a paper product before recycling it? Talk about that, and we'll see you next time for another lesson right here on
Studio Classroom.